Uganda Extra.
It's the festive season and we love it. And that means it's time to celebrate with GoTV.
Come with me.
So get your GoCoder and GoTV value for 25,000 shillings to watch with the whole family. And if you're feeling extra festive, upgrade to our best package yet, GoTV Super.
Something to look forward to.
Download the My GoTV app for more information.
Super.
We all deserve a super festive season. And with GoTV, there's every reason to love it.
Introducing the all-new Roofing's TMX 500C rebars with cut and bend services. Roofing's, strength of a nation.
Shopping needs this Christmas, come to Capital Shoppers. We have a variety of items like gift hampers, foods, garments, cosmetics, and all sorts of drinks. Enjoy your shopping experience this festive season at affordable prices in our fully stocked branches in the following areas: in Tinder Station Road, opposite Makere Business School along Port Bell Road, Duster Street opposite Nakasero Market, and Garden City on Yusuf Lule Road. To all our customers and suppliers, we thank you for your continuous support. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask always.
The Electoral Commission appointed the 2nd to the 14th of December 2021 as the period for conducting candidates' campaign meetings for local government council by-elections. The Commission urges all candidates, their agents, supporters and the public to adhere to set rules and regulations during the campaign period and particularly observe the following. Candidates shall not use or publish any language or defamatory words which incite public disorder, hatred, violence or threaten war. Campaigns shall be conducted between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. and in accordance with the harmonized candidates campaign program. Strict SOPs put in place by the Ministry of Health and by the Electoral Commission to prevent the spread of COVID-19 will have to be adhered to. Candidates will, however, be allowed to organize or hold campaign meetings in a regulated manner, preferably outdoors, with limited attendance of a maximum of 200 persons with face masks, enough spacing, hand washing facilities and sanitizers. Candidates are advised to identify suitable venues within their constituencies and notify the respective returning officers who will conduct an inspection together with the police and the district COVID-19 task force to ensure the venue will enable observance of the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. Candidates and their agents are advised to use non-contact means of communication to interact with the electorate, such as flyers, leaflets, brochures, posters, billboards and banners, radio and television announcements, and talk shows, short messaging services, SMS, voice messaging, social media platforms, and websites. Candidates who use posters are warned against putting them on road traffic signs. Similarly, candidates who use banners are also strongly warned against hanging them, the campaign banners, on electricity power lines or in a manner that endangers vehicle traffic and pedestrian movement. Candidates may also use the community-based public address systems Bizindalo between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. as per the campaign program harmonized with the respective returning officers. All candidates are advised to desist from holding mass rallies and conducting processions from one meeting to another. Similarly, convoys and crowds of supporters shall not be allowed outside the designated meeting venues. Polling and tallying of results for elections of councillors for special interest groups shall take place on Wednesday, the 15th of December 2021. Then polling for district chairperson Kayunga and chairpersons and councillors for other local government councils shall take place on Thursday, the 16th of December 2021 at all polling stations in the affected electoral areas.
Patriotism. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
It's a very good morning. My name is Jaganda Semakola Ziksoka. Welcome again. It is the 14th of December in this year 2021. Now it's festive season and we're just counting 10 days to Christmas and just getting ready for Christmas. We know that people are now getting ready to move from one place to the other to go and celebrate Christmas with their loved ones. But remember, we are doing all this in the eyes of COVID-19. Now, COVID is still with us, but we're doing what we can. And we just want to thank the government of Uganda for doing it and of course for making it possible to avail as much vaccines as possible. So it is your responsibility to also go and get vaccinated. If you got your first jab, find a second jab if it's due. If you haven't got one, please go find one as we get ready to reopen the economy and the country in totality come 2022. We're just counting days, and by the grace of God we think and we hope to be there. Welcome and thank you so much for choosing to be with us. But away from all that, let's remember that COVID is with us. Put on your masks, sanitize, keep a social distance, wash your hands with clean water and soap. And we continue with the fight against the pandemic. It's just quarter past the hour of 9 o'clock. And of course, today we are still in the month of December. And the month of December is also referred to known as the HIV and AIDS month. We celebrated the World AIDS Day on the 1st of December this year, and now we again come back to the conversation of AIDS Day. And of course, with me in studios this morning is Dr. Caroline Nakazi. She is the HIV and AIDS Prevention Officer from the Uganda AIDS Commission. You're very welcome, Dr. Nakazi.
Thank you very much. Morning, our listeners. I encourage you to stay with us the whole hour. We are going to be on TV as we discuss awareness of HIV for this month.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and I'm happy to have you. How long have you been with Uganda AIDS Commission?
I've been with Uganda AIDS Commission for 9 years, okay. But in the response, it's like 25 years.
Oh, so that's how long you've been there. What did you study to qualify as a doctor? Because I know you do several things, but I now see in HIV/AIDS.
We did many things. There is maternal child health, there is nutrition, there is surgery, there is the what we call internal medicine, the general medical care, obstetrics and gynecology. After the first degree has 5 major, and then after that I did a higher diploma in public health, and after the higher diploma in public health I did a master's of medicine. Okay,
that's very important. How have you found it working with the response of HIV/AIDS? For 25 years, these are 2 decades and a half, such a long time. How challenging, how easy, how hard has it been to
It has been hard because I thought we worked very hard, and I thought by this time we would have got a cure or a vaccine. Okay. But the vaccine is evading us, but hopefully one day, as we are researching, maybe one day we'll get something like a vaccine or a cure, because we are right now getting long-acting ARVs, injectable ARVs that are reducing the drug burden for our patients. So I think one day, with all the research and the hard work that we've put in, maybe with the help of God, we'll get a vaccine. Okay. That's the most challenging, because the information people have, the drugs, most people know how to take them, but wherever you go, they ask you, you've been in this response for a long time, when are you getting a cure? When are you getting a vaccine? COVID has just come, you've got
and there's a vaccine.
There is a vaccine. Why not HIV, which has been here for over 3 decades? So the most challenging thing is that.
Okay, and you, the scientists, are working towards that. You like you say, you're trusting God and to do what you can do to actually find one just right there. Now we are in the month of this is, I think, called the AIDS month, AIDS awareness month, and it is where we are. We are in a festive season. We're celebrating, and at such a time, we are all thinking merrymaking, driving, going up country, going to villages, moving back and forth. We have relatives who live out of the country who are planning to come back. We've just had COVID disruptions, but nonetheless, we continue working and, of course, celebrating. What needs to be known by the people, especially in this season as we celebrate the festive season, in as far as AIDS is concerned?
Is protecting yourself and those you love is your responsibility. So when you're moving to the village, if you're moving from what we call Abasama who come here, remember to protect yourself and those you love. You have methods like ABC plus drugs. A is abstinence if you're not married. B is being faithful to one mutually faithful partner. And C is condom use plus drugs. Because when you take your drugs religiously, you suppress the virus to a level that it will not be detectable. But we also advise people not to just move recklessly because it is a festive season and they get infected during the course of enjoying for a few minutes or a few hours. Okay. So that's what I'm advising people, that they've come for wherever they've come or wherever they are going, let them remember to protect themselves and to protect those they love.
Thank you very much. Looking at the theme of this year's World AIDS Day, which I want you to decipher for us, it talks about ending the pandemic, ending HIV/AIDS, and what else?
Ending stigma.
Ending stigma.
Yes.
Ending.
End stigma, end the AIDS, and the pandemic.
End stigma, end AIDS, and end the pandemics. Let's decipher that. What of those can we do, and what can't we do? Are we talking about something that is just easy to write, or are we talking about something that we think can be achieved?
I think the easiest to achieve out of the three is
ending stigma.
Ending stigma, because the pandemics like COVID came, we didn't even know, we were not prepared for it. We didn't know where it came from. The easiest of the three is stigma is the easiest to end because it is in our control. We can community awareness and so on. We can teach people. We can try the cultural social norms to change them and sensitize even those who are self-stigmatizing, because stigma is not about others, but I can self-stigma myself and say, I'm like this now, why should I go there? I have HIV, why should I go there? Like that. So stigma of the three is the easiest to end. But AIDS, we are doing everything possible. AIDS is the second. We are doing everything possible. All the methods with drugs, nutrition, giving knowledge, condoms, and all those methods that we've talked about to see that we end AIDS by the year 2030.
Doctor, let's talk about stigma and discrimination. Do they mean the same?
No.
What are they, and what needs to be done with that?
Stigma, discrimination is like you would say that this is a woman. And a woman will not sit at the table of men. That is discrimination. Or if this one is lame, if he's lame, he's not going to sit with us. So we...
It's okay. Talk to me.
So that is... And discrimination is unfair or unjust treatment. That is because of my race, my gender, the way, like I've talked about lame people, my serostatus being HIV positive, and you come and just to me, and maybe you say we are not giving Dr. Kara a job because she's sick.
But do we still have people that are discriminated against
a
here
lot of
in as far as AIDS is concerned? That you come, you are in an organization like this, and once they know your social status, then you're discriminated against that.
People will not stop stigmatizing, especially gossiping. When we were doing the index, I think gossiping took about 60% of the types of stigma because of the nature of the disease and how it came, killing people and what. People will not stop stigmatizing. Still, even if there is someone here in UBC and you know that the sero status is that this person is positive, people are going to gossip about her or him, and that is a type of stigma.
But these are many years. I think, we accept and agree that just like COVID disorganized us. When COVID had just come in here, we knew of a few people and here and there who had actually contracted the virus. But during the second wave, virtually almost everybody somehow got some challenges in their home, that you had an auntie, a sister, a son, a brother, an in-law, or whatever, who got that. We know that for all the years that we've had AIDS here in the country, at least almost all homesteads in this country have lost somebody to HIV/AIDS. Do we still even, can we even still get there to worry about and say somebody died of HIV/AIDS in Jagenda's home or in Dr. Nakazi's home? Does that even still affect us? So I don't know. It
does, and if they are still, the community is still stigmatizing the people living with HIV. And the reasons being that the disease, the way the disease came, it was deadly and people feared to be infected. Then the way it is transmitted, so it is associated with morals and bad behavior and the types of jobs like
prostitution, and,
sex work,
sex workers, yes,
and men who have sex
recklessness.
Recklessness. That's it's not like COVID. COVID we fear to be infected, and but the other, and also there is the moralistic issues. Yes, that the way it comes. And they think most people think of the sexual transmission. They think it is your fault. They don't think that you can get it occupationally. Those who get maternal from the mother to the child, they think of the being immoral. And that's the reason one of the reasons why they stigmatize people living with HIV. Okay,
as government and as of course the body mandated to help us manage this, the response, Uganda AIDS Commission, you have what you call the 90-90-90.
Yes.
What is 90-90-90, and how far are we with the 90-90-90? How are we performing?
The 1990 set UNAIDS targets that were set for us to achieve.
Yes.
To achieve that, when you have a cluster of people, 100 people, 90 of them should be tested and know their sero status.
For every 100 people?
Yes. And out of those you've tested, 90 of them should be put on antiretroviral treatment, on ARVs. And out of those on ARVs, 90 should be able to suppress their virus, the viral load, so that when you test them, you no longer detect the virus. And when that reduces the chance of the person living with HIV to transmit to another who doesn't have, if they are in a discordant relationship. So far we've reached the first 90, we are at 94. The second 90, we are at 92.
The first 90, we are at 94?
Yes.
So we've hit that.
That is with testing and knowing the sero status.
Okay.
Then the second one, 92% are on drugs. on ARVs, and 84% have been able to suppress their virus. That's where we are, and we have moved, and the United States has set a higher target for us now to achieve, which is 95, 95, 95. And we are working towards getting to the 95, 95, 95. And Uganda is one of the 10 countries that have reached these 90s.
Okay, but yet again, the information that we also get from, I think, the experts is that our prevalence is again rising. We had brought it down to single digits. We seem now to be rising again. All of a sudden, something has happened, and the rate at which people are getting or contracting HIV/AIDS is again growing. No, isn't that defeating the
no,
purpose?
It's not defeating. Overall, it's 6%. But there are areas that have high prevalence.
Yes.
Like Toro, like
Toro in Fort Portal.
Yes.
Okay.
Like places where you have high risk, what we call the most at risk, or the key populations.
Most at risk
like
landing sites.
Landing sites where
border points.
Where you have fisherfolk. Border points where you have the truckers stop.
Long distance drivers.
The hotspots where where the truckers stop. The sex workers also come. Areas. Crowded areas where they are, like in Kampala, you find very many sex workers. You know the Red District, is that near here, Speak Road. You know the slum areas like Namwongo. People have to survive, and those areas that have most at-risk populations, they are clusters of people, and our response is also people-centered. The effort we put in to control HIV among sex workers and fisherfolk is not what we do in the general population. And together with them, we design programs, we design messages, and work with them to see that we bring the infection rates down. But when you go to areas like Masaka, Kalangala is an island, and the main occupation is fisherfolk. There is sex for fish, there is sex for food, there's what. So, in the islands, women are less in number than men. So you will find that one woman has 5 men. They even line up for that one woman.
There are more men than women?
Yes, there are more men than women in the islands. So one woman can have 5 men. And they know themselves, Jagenda,
Ratoro,
every knows that
they all go to the same place.
That Simoro is our woman, and all of them, they wait. When the other
when small goes to Ratoro, Fakul waits.
They wait for, and even the money when they leave the fishing, unloading and selling. After selling, there always money for paying for. They even call it Brazil. There are areas demarcated for sex work, and it's called the Brazil. Brazil means playing football for money. That is locally translated. And when the fisherman tells you, I'm going to Brazil, that means I'm going to play football.
Sex for money.
Football for money. So they put fees aside, then home care and what? Then there is money.
That's in Kalangala in Uganda, or you're talking about a scenario that is somewhere in the world?
No, I've not gone to somewhere in the world. Brazil is here.
Brazil is in Kalangala?
All landing sites have a Brazil. It's like you would go in the world and find a China city. All landing sites have a place called Brazil. Okay. And they speak the same language. The fishermen move like...
Yes, of course, that's what they do. It's their trade also.
The way sex workers move. And when the season is, they know that, the sex workers know that now this season is for catching fish, high yields, and a lot of money. They also follow them. But also the fishermen move. They move from landing site to...
one landing site to the other?
Depending on the season and where there is a big catch. And also there are women follow.
So how do you manage? You were in the response, Dr. Nakazi.
Yes.
How are you managing that? Because doesn't that defeat the purpose of fighting the scourge?
No, it doesn't, because I told you these programs are people-centered.
Okay.
We have programs, key population programming, and for that one we put a lot of effort for sex workers, for fisher folk, for men who have sex with men. For there is a lot of effort. You find many implementing partners working with them, and they are involved themselves, and they have a slogan that says, "Nothing for us without us." We teach them
nothing for us
without
us.
So
in other words, don't tailor your programs in Kampala.
Yes,
then
and bring them here.
And you ask us to implement them.
Yes.
If you want to implement a program here, come be part of us. We plan it together, and we know how to. I think that's a very good one.
Yes, and in certain landing sites like Kasensero, the sex workers manage the condom outlets, the condom dispensers, and also educate their clients on HIV prevention. They even have a uniform. You will see the blue t-shirt and know it is this color. This
light
is
blue.
Sky blue.
Sky light blue.
Sky blue. You know that is a sex worker. They educate. They even protection.
They're proud about that. They even done in colors.
These days they don't hide. They don't hide.
You put on a uniform to actually know. Just like you can spot a police officer and say that's a city police officer, that's a traffic officer. They also put on colors to know that this is a sex worker.
And they teach their clients how to prevention methods. They even distribute condoms. Yes, and there is some sort of protection, because the men also, sexual gender-based violence, some of them beat them, some of them will, let me say, rape in quotations, and they protect each other, because if you are one, and we are like 10 sex workers, we surround you. If you want forced sex without a condom, when we negotiated for condom use, then they will work on you. Yes, they protect themselves as sex workers, because they also want their life. Besides the job they do, the work they do, but they want to live. They want to live, and one of the things they do is now a program like PrEP. The PrEP, they have a model called peer support and a referral. A sex worker is like snowballing. You know how you do this?
Snowballing, yes.
Yes. Sex worker Carol will refer sex worker Jagenda will refer Rwantoro, like that. So that all of them are what? Either on drugs, when they have been tested and found positive, or on PrEP, because they are on high risk. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. We give antiretroviral drugs to protect this person from getting HIV until the risk goes away, because eventually some of them leave the work when they grow up, or when they were looking for money and they've got enough. So there is PrEP, and when the risk stops, they also graduate. They call it graduating when they are leaving their work. They also graduate from the PrEP.
From sex working to some other thing.
They graduate from sex working to another thing.
To another.
Some go to the university. Others go to Chikuvo. Others get some other business. When they graduate from sex work, they usually, when the risk goes, they also graduate from PrEP.
So even with that, I don't know what to call it, but of course it's not legal. It's not, sex trade is not, prostitution is not legal.
It's not legal.
It's not legal in this country. But even with that now happening, you still are sure that we can try to hit the targets, try to reduce the infections. We can try to manage and maybe even phase HIV out of this country?
Yes, because now if these programs are people-centered and the people are responding, because we know where we put a lot of effort where there is a high focus of infection. areas that you know that the trackers would do it, and we have knowledge rooms for trackers. We know that we are doing this for like people who inject and they use drugs. We have programs for the people we know that are most at risk. And with focusing on those, we hope that the infections will go down. And I think it is going down, because when the response started, we were in the 30s, then we came to 18%. If you have been able to come to as low as 6%, yes, it's possible to go down
to 2 to 1 and then possibly to 0.
If we don't get any other pandemic like COVID.
Okay.
Because COVID disorganized our programs. Even during the lockdown, people couldn't go to collect their drugs. All the programs were disorganized until we started designing models, like getting boda and know that there are 6 in UBC, take them their drugs and they take them from there. But COVID disorganized our programs. But if we don't get another pandemic, we hopefully think that we'll be able to get HIV out of AIDS out of the country.
Do you have a set date for that? Do we have a set date, a set timeline for that? Is it 2030?
The timeline we have now is 2030.
2030, and that's 10 years now.
10 years,
8 years, 9 years to that particular time. Okay, well, I'm only thinking, and of course that's where we are. We are now talking about COVID-19, and with COVID-19, remember, we have kept drumming to go for vaccination because the vaccines are here. Telling the people, even when you have herd immunity, please go and get this jab. What the jab does, it does not stop COVID from catching you, but it only gives you herd immunity, that when you get the virus, your body can actually repulse and fight against it. Would anybody think and suggest, say, for example, mandatory testing? Because to achieve the 95% is unless we know how many Ugandans have HIV/AIDS, away from those who come and test voluntarily, because either it is a maternal period that this man is escorting the wife to go to antenatal, and they are requested or they are required to test, or somebody voluntarily just feels and says, I don't think I am very normal. Let me go and do this test or that test or that test. Then also I discover. Then thirdly, some know about their HIV status when they are intending to get married. Churches now do demand that before we solemnize your marriage in our church, one of the requirements is, before you bring all the other things, we also need to know your status. Go test, then come and tell us, I am negative, and the girl I'm intending to marry is also negative. So that's another way that majority of the people actually know about their HIV status when they're pregnant and they're required to bring a partner, or when they are intending to get married, for those who go to churches. Would there be a way that this can be done, just like we're telling people, please go vaccinate? We're even telling people, if you don't vaccinate, possibly you'll not even find yourself coming to school, or you'll not even get yourself in class teaching, or you'll not even get yourself in this particular, that is there. And people are vaccinating because they are worried that someday government may raise up and say, for everybody who did not vaccinate, either don't enter that gate to come and work, or don't come to class to teach, or don't come to this. Can you, as HIV/AIDS response team, or also think about that, especially for testing, for example, or you can't achieve it?
Most of the HIV testing is voluntary. Voluntary, and you've seen how we achieved this 94. It is voluntary. The mandatory ones are people who are entering the military. Then forensic, if you have maybe raped someone, or defiled someone, and
it's criminal.
The survivor who has survived that, and maybe if there is occupational exposure, maybe if I'm delivering a woman and I cut myself and suspect that the index case is HIV positive, but for HIV we don't. Generally, it's not. There is no mandatory testing apart from those ones: the forensic, the
military,
those who are joining the recruits, and where there is defilement or occupational exposure. The majority of them is the testing is voluntary, but they test The people want their life, they test, and those who, and most of them, we have given you the statistics, they test and they start on drugs. So I think as like forcing people to test is
wouldn't. It would defeat the purpose.
It would defeat the purpose.
Okay, well, that's very important, Dr. Nakazi. But the other thing that I also need you to talk to us about is now for people who are on treatment on the ARTs or ARVs, the antiretrovirals, to suppress their viral loads, and because I think at some point they are suppressed to almost ignorable standards that you can't see the virus again. I had one of, well, I don't think she's an expert, but one person who works with health services. And her worry is that when you put people on ARVs and suppress the virus, it doesn't mean that this person, the virus has actually gone away. But this person whose virus has actually gone, the viral load has gone low or down, may find this other negative partner. Because it is undetectable, and this one is a negative partner, so you come together as though none of you actually has the virus. And in the future, maybe, then it erupts. What are the chances? And to this person, that actually defeats the purpose, that you are only shielding a problem, but it's not going away. So at the end of the day, we will find ourselves exploding again.
One thing that we encourage for the people who have virally suppressed is continue taking their drugs. The risk of transmission is low, but we also encourage them to disclose to the partner, to the negative partner, and also give them the other methods of prevention, like condoms, and this other person in the disconduct couple can also be given PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, so that we reduce the risk of infection. We continue to reduce the risk of infection.
So does the PrEP also become a lifetime thing?
No, PrEP is not a lifetime thing. It is as long as there is a risk. But if someone is has virally suppressed and continues swallowing their drugs religiously, the chances of infecting the other partner are very, very minimal. Yeah, that's what it is.
And that's why you encourage, that's why you encourage Ugandans to go that way or to achieve that. Well, we are in the pandemic of COVID-19 and we are vaccinating. Now with vaccines, everybody comes with what they want to say. Somebody will tell you, I am not vaccinating now because I have blood pressure. I am not vaccinating because I have diabetes. I am not vaccinating because I have this ailment. I am not vaccinating. The other day I had the Sickle Cell Society or the Sickle Cell Network, the Sickle Cell Fraternity, also saying we are being left out of this thing because of their status as they call themselves champions. What about people with HIV and AIDS? Is it okay to vaccinate, or somebody can actually use that and say, I am on ARVs and I am worried. With my ARVs, what about if I went to vaccinate and I had a problem? What would that mean? Now, let's hear from you, the expert.
The diseases you talked about are high risk of getting COVID. So diabetes, hypertension should vaccinate actually before the other people who...
Those shouldn't be the reason why you shouldn't go.
They
should be the very
those
reason
are the reasons you should go first. Because the diseases that reduce immunity is HIV, cancer, diabetes. Those should go first, and you should not give immunocompromised people should not give an excuse. Even people living with HIV should go first and to get their jabs first, second, or if they are getting this one, is it Johnson and Johnson, which is one.
J&J.
J&J, you get your jab. I've not really heard about, I vaccinated here at KCCA, Central here, the clinic which is here.
At KCCA?
At KCCA headquarters. But I even went back for the second jab. I went back for the certificate again, but from the nursing office I did not hear any complaints about side effects. But any drug or vaccine, it comes with a form which is called for pharmacovigilance. In case there is, actually they even ask us
you tick boxes.
If you go, when we went back for the second, did you get any side effects? Like a rash, like a temperature, like a headache,
nausea, vomiting,
vomiting, stomachache, anything. And all these pharmaco products come with a form which is called a pharmacovigilance form, where we record the side effects. But now I'm not in practice. But I asked the nursing officer who vaccinated me, and she said she had not received. But among those people, there are people living with HIV, except that we don't know their sero status. But she had not received the complaints so far.
And you can't say nobody has gone there when the HIV/AIDS are positive or so.
Yes.
Back to now the commission, the Uganda AIDS Commission, which is government now. Are we on the right trajectory? Are we, from what you see there, are we on the right path? Are we getting somewhere in as far as this response is concerned? Are we making headway? Is government succeeding in this battle?
As I told you, from the 30% we are coming down, and when there is the results for the population-based survey that was done last year, it is even going to be lower. I think we are on the right trajectory, and hopefully we shall be able to reduce HIV to a level that is no longer public health threat. And
of course, the other thing that I would also love you to talk to us about is, like we said, it's a month of awareness, and we're still battling with stigma and discrimination. What needs to be done? Because our time is also ending, and what needs to be done? What are you now telling the people what needs to be done? And in case anybody notices any stigmatization elsewhere or discrimination, what should they do, or what should the employers do? What should be the response of family members or anybody in as far as stigma and discrimination is concerned?
People who have any other disease, even HIV, need support. Family support, community support. If the employer needs to support the employee. Because if we don't support, this affects people going on treatment. They will go underground. And when they go underground, they continue what? Transmitting. They will say, after all, I didn't also want to get this disease. So it is important that we create community awareness. We talk to people about stigma. They should stop pointing fingers, because nobody wanted to get HIV. And if the stigma stops, because stigma affects our programs, it will help us add on the targets that we are aiming at. So we should teach people to stop stigmatizing others.
Do you have school outreaches?
Not schools. In the schools, the disclosure in schools is a bit limited. Maybe it is the teacher who is, or the nurse.
Senior man teacher also.
Yeah, not the whole school.
Not the whole school.
Not the whole school, because they will definitely, you know how bullying is in schools. But would like to talk to everybody, not to point a finger to someone who has HIV.
How about in higher institutions? How about in higher institutions?
Higher institutions of learning, and we have a policy on stigma, which we ought to have started disseminating, but we are going to, I think, to start in January, and educate communities to stop stigma. Because as long as we have stigma, I told you, people will go underground, and when they go underground, they will not take their drugs, and they will affect our targets, and they will continue transmitting.
That policy was enacted by government?
Yes, it was developed by Uganda AIDS Commission with people who the people who live with the virus with HIV. And they also, most of their programs, if it's, I told you, programs are people-centered. Even this we did together with people who live with HIV. And also the same slogan is nothing for us without us. So we worked together with an organization called Napofano, where most of the people who are there are HIV positive.
Napofano, yes.
Yes, and then we developed that policy, which is soon, I think January.
Next year.
It will be the first thing to be disseminated.
What will that do to us? What will that help us?
Well, there are people who don't know that you may do something and not knowing that you are stigmatizing someone. You may not know that you are
defeating our fight.
You are defeating our fight. So when we teach that, we will create awareness, and we will change. It's like preaching. We will change some souls. And I saw when I was pointing fingers to this one, I was stigmatizing her. Now let me support. There are people who are going to change and start supporting people who are living with HIV to take their drugs.
Okay. Well, Dr. Caroline Nakazi, the HIV and AIDS Prevention Officer from the Uganda AIDS Commission, I very much want to appreciate and thank you so much for having allowed to join us and, of course, being with us here today. Your final comment and your final clarion call to the public. Look into that camera, look into the people's eye, and tell them your final message as we also get into the celebrations of the festive season of Christmas and the other festivities. I know all of us are going to enjoy Christmas. It's a festive season, but please remember to enjoy carefully. Protecting yourself and those you love is the responsibility lies totally on you. So let's practice our abstinence, being faithful to one mutually faithful partner. If you can't be faithful to one partner, use a condom. And if you are on drugs, on antiretroviral therapy, swallow your drugs religiously as the healthcare worker has instructed you. Protect yourself and protect your others. Don't get HIV and don't give HIV. That's the concluding message I would like to give people as they are going to wherever they are going, or those who are coming to Kampala and those who are living in Kampala are going to the villages. Don't give HIV and don't get HIV. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Dr. Nakazi Caroline from the Uganda AIDS Commission for that very good message. And just also re-echo or regurgitate Dr. Nakazi's ABC. Abstain and be faithful, that mutual partner that you have. And number 3, use a condom. And we from the church background also love to remind people that you can't substitute the the condom with Christ. Remember to also preach and to talk about Christ in a way. Like you says, don't get HIV and don't give HIV. We all need an HIV-free society. Let's do our best as we celebrate the festive season for this time around. Thank you so much, Doctor. And thank you so much to our people out there. Good morning. My name is Uganda Semakola Ziksoka. We'll talk again tomorrow. For God and my country, stay blessed for today. Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. A feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.